Nicci, welcome to Amsterdam.
Thank you very much.
You've just published your fourth solo novel called The Middle Place. It's published not in the UK.
It's not published in the UK until next year.
No,
here first.
Only published in Holland.
Only here.
We are very honoured.
Well, the honour is mine, I tell you.
My first question is very general. Can you tell us something about The Middle Place, the story, and maybe also a sketch of the characters?
Yeah. When I was thinking about it, when it was kind of growing in my mind, I had several images, and the first one was that I wanted it to have a very still centre. So I wanted to have a still centre which was kind of almost where time wasn't moving, and then have the kind of past streaming out and the future opening out from this small kind of almost deathly moment in the middle. And so what I decided to do was I had the main character, Marnie, is called to go and visit her dying friend who she hasn't seen for many years, and we don't know why she hasn't seen him for many years. And she travels to this landscape where he's lying, dying, and he asks her to tell him about their life together. So the novel takes place partly in this present where she's attending his death, and partly in the past that she is remembering for both of them. And then also there's another voice, which is his voice, which Marnie doesn't hear, but the reader reads, and it's his memories, which are kind of joining in with her memories. So that's the structure of the book. So really it's like her remembering their past in order to somehow come to terms with it, really. And it's her letting him die, I think.
Can you tell, you have named a few names now?
Yes, all right. Yes, the central character, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose, is this woman called Marnie, who we see in her early middle age, sitting by the deathbed, and we see her through her teenage years and in her 20s, as she remembers them to Ralph. And then Ralph, who is the man who's lying in bed, dying, is her dear friend who's always loved her. And who's always been something of a lost character. You know, Marnie and her mother took Ralph in, and he's not exactly by kind of manic depressive, not clinically, but there's something very extreme about him. He's a character who has no anchor and is adrift and flapping.
We
and
learn
in a way,
also from his house, his home, which is very dramatic.
He has a very kind of dramatic and bad, dysfunctional background. He's a damaged boy, and she becomes a symbol of his home, the person who will rescue him. She's like a kind of mother and a sister and a lover to him. So she means too much to him. And in a way, that's what she's trying to capture when she tells their story. And then there are other characters as well. I mean, there's Marnie's mother, Emma, and that kind of relationship between mother and daughter. It's very important in the book. Also, Marnie is a very motherly figure. She's a character she's not beautiful, she's not tremendously successful, she's dyslexic, she's awkward, she's unnoticed often, but she's supposed to be kind and lovely, and she's like a mother, but she's a mother without children, so she mothers these other characters.
Among which Ralph?
Among most of all, Ralph.
Yeah.
And then there are other characters. There's a character called Oliver who's with her at Ralph's deathbed.
Very important also in the story.
And very important in the story, and maybe important in her future as well, although we don't know that at the time. And her other friend Lucy, who's quite important in the character. So it is this sense of how the past kind of haunts the present. It's a bit like, she's trying to somehow lay to rest all the ghosts of the past as she sits by this deathbed.
Yes.
And actually, as I wrote it, I wanted it to sound like a very sad story when I say that, but I wanted it to be a story full of kind of redemption, really, and hope. So I wanted it to be full of sadness, but not to be sad.
No. Okay.
Also, I should just say one of the other things there were a couple of other things as I was writing it that became as I began to understand what the book was about as I was writing it, and one of the things that it's about home, and it's about the meaning of home. So Marnie is a homemaker. She's like a motherly figure, and wherever she goes, she kind of tries to make into a home. So for the few days that she's with Ralph as he's dying, she's trying to make a home for him, and Ralph has always been in search of a home.
She's cooking, cleaning.
She's cooking, cleaning. She's trying to make it into
a real home.
Yes, into a home.
Christmas even.
Yes, and Ralph's always been someone who hasn't had a home, so he's always been homesick. Not homesick really for a place, but homesick for Marnie, and homesick for a mother, and homesick for safety and security. And also it's about the landscape is always very important. So there's this landscape up in the north of Scotland, which is very wintry, very beautiful, very silent. And there's the kind of landscape of her growing up, which is a seascape. So I wanted to have these kind of different, very particular geographies in the book.
Yeah. The role of the landscape, the decor of the story.
Yeah.
It's important. You mentioned the dialogue. It's a very special dialogue in which one of the characters is talking and the other one more or less only, sometimes says a few words, but more or less is thinking. And we as a reader read his thoughts, but of course Marnie doesn't.
Marnie doesn't, except sometimes he has thoughts and then she'll echo them. So she doesn't know his thought, but I think she can perhaps feel them.
Sense them, yes. Can you tell us why you choose for this structure? I mean, obviously Ralph is very weak, doesn't have the force to speak, at least not really big sentences and stories anymore. But I think it's also a choice. You've came up with the idea. Because it's also very. It makes it tense. You know more than Marnie. There was absolutely that choice that we do know more than Marnie, and there are some things that Ralph says to the reader, or thinks, and the reader hears that Marnie will never know. Yeah. I mean, partly I chose it. It's partly about that. What I was talking about earlier about being haunted by memories. There's a way in which Ralph is gradually slipping away. He's gradually sliding out of his own story. And in a way I wanted to have Marnie tell him his story, and then by the end of her speaking his story to him, he would be ready to go. So it was about him being able to let go and her letting him go. Yes. And in that space, in that letting go space, the kind of middle place, I wanted all those memories and those feelings to be able to kind of flood in. So it's like a flooding in of memories where words would have been, where he would have spoken before. Now he just has those silent memories streaming in. Yes, but still he learns. But still he learns. Yes. Which is I think it's very good because it makes it tense. It makes it very. It makes the story more tense, I think, because we know more than Marnie. But it also makes Ralph. I mean, it's you see how lonely someone is. Yeah. That's the sad part of it, because although Marnie notices maybe some of his thoughts, it also makes him lonely. And, it is. Yes, that's reality. That's reality, right? Unfortunately. That makes it very also, I think there was one other thing as well, which is that I wanted to have different kinds of voices, so that by not having them as actual words, Ralph's memories, by him not speaking them but just remembering them and us hearing those memories, as it were, I was able to make it somehow kind of, he remembers in a way that he wouldn't speak. There's a kind of poetry and an intensity you can give to that he wouldn't be able to say himself. Yes. So you can kind of chop up the story and have different kind of levels of feeling in it. Yeah. Makes it very strong. Of course we know you write novels, but you also write thrillers with your husband on the name Nicky French. I do. What interests me is